And God bless. I'm Dominique DePrima. This show is called First Things First, my first thing every day. Giving thanks, giving praises, asking for blessings from the Most High, asking for the blessings of the ancestors, the elders, the community, and let's go, go, go. It's not just Friday, it's Juneteenth Friday. We've got a lot to talk about, a lot to celebrate, a lot to protest, all of the above and beyond. Hour one, we do the local thing. You know how we do it. Hour two, national, international, and beyond. And in the third hour, well, we go deep, deep. But today we're kind of going deep all day. So if you have something to say, now would be the perfect time to call 800-920-1580. Because in our second hour today, we'll be joined by Master Jahi of the Bay Area Hip Hop Archives as we celebrate the birthday of Tupac Shakur. Gemini vibes all day long. Rest in peace, Pac. And in the third hour, we'll be joined by the mayor of New Orleans, Latoya Cantrell, talk about the connection, the historic connection, and the right now connection between Los Angeles and New Orleans, and much more. I mean, it's always interesting to talk with some of our nation's thriving and successful black mayors, of which there are many, by the way. If you just look at Washington, you might think there's much more dysfunction than what we see happening on the city and state level. You know how we do that, but you're welcome in every hour, every single hour. I'd love to hear from you at 800-920-1580. Our second anniversary is Monday, of course, Juneteenth, and we've had so many people calling us and trying to get in that we had to make the party even bigger. That's right, we've opened up some more space for our KBLA delegation. So if you want to join us on Juneteenth, all you have to do is email us info@smileyAudiomedia.com. We'll email you back with all the particulars for your private invitation-only all-star celebration on Juneteenth. That's info@smileyAudiomedia.com. Of course, admission isn't guaranteed, so you want to get on that email right now. But we're going to welcome as many additional KBLA delegates as we can accommodate. The food, drink, and the music is all on us in the spirit of Emancipation Day, Freedom Day. Remember, email info@smileyAudiomedia.com right now. Let's see if we can get you into the fun and festivities on Juneteenth. So many great things happening around and about Los Angeles, but of course, come party with us. My partner in politics this day is also my partner in crime from time to time on Fox Soul TV. He is the founder and the president of ES Advisors, which is a public policy consulting firm, and he's an official KBLA contributor. Ed Sanders, good morning.
Hey, Dominique, good morning to you. How are you?
I'm blessed and highly favored, as I pray you are.
As I am and hope to continue to be. Thank you for that.
Yes, indeed. You know, I like to start with what's good, especially on Fridays and, pointedly when things are a little rough on the cityscape, which we'll get into a little later. But right now, I want to talk about Juneteenth. I mean, there's so many great things happening, not the least of which I know you're involved with tomorrow's NOLA, LA to NOLA, NOLA to LA party. I mean, it's a dedication of the New Orleans corridor in Los Angeles, but it's really a giant free outdoor party, right?
Yeah, no, you're right, and it's set on Juneteenth weekend, right? And I think generally Juneteenth, you look at it as sort of the emancipation of Texas from slavery. But when you look at the region, whether Texas, New Orleans, there are tens of thousands of families that migrated from the region to Los Angeles. They jumped on the Southern Pacific Railroad at the time, really escaping, what was the Deep South, and some of the harsh living conditions and the oppression that certainly our community was experiencing there, and made the journey west for greener pastures, fresh opportunity, economic freedom here in California. And, when you look back and you take a moment and you look at what that migration has meant to Los Angeles, The New Orleans community in Los Angeles, and the New Orleans descendant community is large. And I think we've been blown away by the response, the anticipated crowd for tomorrow, and it really is a testament, one, to the number of people that have descendants from New Orleans, but two, the impact that the New Orleans culture has had on Los Angeles, and so
Right.
really looking forward to honoring that migration.
I'm sure people always ask you, Ed, because you're light-skinned, if your family hails from New Orleans. It always happens to me. No, my family is from South Carolina via plantation, and then my mama's side is Italian. But I've always wanted to go to New Orleans, and this weekend New Orleans is coming to me.
No, that's right. I referenced Juneteenth. My half of my family is from Texas, but the other half is from Louisiana, and
Aha.
so I think, but that is the story of a lot of us in LA, right? Particularly if you're born here, parents, grandparents are generally from somewhere in the South, and whether or not parents made the connection, that is our history, right? And we family members came here and brought the family traditions and just sort of the family learning that you get, and really thrived here. And so again, you look around and you see Creole families in Los Angeles, the various Catholic parishes that form throughout the city. When we look, and what we're celebrating is really at the direction of LA Councilmember Heather Hutt, is looking at that portion of Jefferson Boulevard from Holy Name Catholic Church to Harold and Bells, and that will be the new Orleans corridor, and it's exciting because you've got one in a Catholic parish that serviced really built on Creole families, and then two on the other end, a world-renowned Creole restaurant, and so really looking forward to it.
Yeah. So, and we're just talking with some friends about this. It's really, there's a lot going on. So at 11 a.m., the mayor of Los Angeles, Mayor Karen Bass, will be joined by the mayor of New Orleans, Latoya Cantrell, and Mayor Cantrell will be on with us later in the third hour today. And they'll also be joined, of course, by the council member from that area who pushed this thing through, council member Heather Hutt, other dignitaries, and including former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown, who, is absolutely an icon. And then there'll be a dedication, a ribbon cutting. That all takes place a little further east at the Church of Holy Names, right?
Right, correct.
At 11.
Correct. And excited about that, right? And you called it out, and I think thank you to you. You'll have the mayor of New Orleans on, and it really is a testament to the two cities. You referenced at the top of the show the number of African American mayors in the United States, and you start to look at the larger cities in the country, from New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Houston, San Francisco, Atlanta, New Orleans. Just I'm rattling off the top
Do
of my
not
mind.
forget Newark, where my brother
cities.
is the mayor.
Yeah.
Do not forget Newark.
I cannot forget Newark.
Don't forget Newark. Yeah, but
I cannot forget Newark.
and anywhere where there's a large population like Atlanta or Jackson, Mississippi, of course, but also places where we are by far not, the largest number of voters, like Los Angeles, and even New York. I hate to mention him because he's not my favorite mayor, but he is African American. So black folks really making some important inroads in municipalities across the country. I think that's something to celebrate. I'll leave out New York in that, but nevertheless, the progress and the fact that we remain electable, despite the fact that in many areas we're not the majority or not even close to the majority, but our leadership still shines through.
Of course, and I would say that we have always been the conscience of the country as a community, and a spokesperson from our community will always sort of bubble to the top as a leader, and it is part of our DNA as a community across this country. And you see that in New Orleans, you see that in Los Angeles, and tomorrow you'll have a rather striking pose. Two African American women leaders of major U.S. cities, coming together to honor our community, and so again, really looking forward to tomorrow.
When we come forward, we'll be taking your phone calls, 800-920-1580, and Ed Sanders and I will address the elephant in the room. We got to talk about the disastrous charges against L.A. City Council member Curran Price. More to look at, too, when we come forward. You know the deal. You're also invited to help set the agenda at 800-920-1580. It's about reciprocity, engagement, and progress. KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
You're listening to K-Drip, where we play all the best classic water-wasting hits like Sprinklers in the Rain and Leaky Faucets. They're tunes from another time because now that we face a hotter, drier future, every drop counts. Despite an extremely wet winter, keep using less water, fixing leaks, and reusing indoor water for your garden. Visit SaveOurWater.com for more ways to conserve. Up next, brushing your teeth with the water on. K-Drip.
Tune in to More Than That with Gia Peppers live this Sunday at 4 p.m. or wherever you listen to podcasts. This episode of More Than That is sponsored by My Black is Beautiful, empowering black women along their journey to achieve beauty on their terms.
King C. Gillette is the modern man's answer to their facial hair. With a complete set of precision tools, the King C. Gillette line offers the perfect fit for your facial hairstyle. Want to try something great? Try the Style Master, the quintessential styling tool that every man needs to craft their style. It's a waterproof, cordless trimmer with a long-lasting 4-directional blade. It's extremely versatile and designed to edge, trim, and stubble in 4 directions on any hair length. Master your style with King C. Gillette.
What's up? It's a Target trend alert. New swim has just arrived and it's sunny weather approved.
If you're into bikinis or one pieces, high waists or cutouts, they're the perfect combo of trendy, flattering, and affordable.
That's right. And there are so many cool styles with gorgeous details. These suits have macrame, crochet, wood beads, pretty shells, and more. Totally a luxe for less vibe.
Yes, so dive in and shop this Target trend without the spend.
Ready for an unforgettable experience this Juneteenth weekend? I'm Queen Mother Nina Womack, inviting everyone to my multimedia arts exhibit called Wayusi, The Legacy of Slavery and Freedom. Experience African culture, Black art, live performances, keynote speakers like Dr. Melina Abdullah of Black Lives Matter LA and more. See The Door of No Return, an 18th century slave dungeon relic from Ghana. Produced by Transmedia 360, sponsored by the Department of Mental Health, Cal Mesa, and Take Action for Mental Health LA. Running June 16th through the 18th at ArtShare LA, 801 East 4th Place, 90013 off of 4th Street, 1 block east of Alameda in the Downtown Arts District. Get your tickets at legacyofslavery.com or call 877-594-1292.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DePrima right now.
Right now, let's get back to Ed Sanders right now. Phones are hot, and so we will take some calls, but I'm always happy to do that. But I'm really sad about the charges against council member Curran Price. My experience with him, a nice person, a person who's been effective in dealing with things like the pandemic relief, like labor, helping folks, the street vendors, helping make sure that people get paid at the bottom of the wage scale, get paid a little bit more, like the Fight for 15. And, of course, an affable person who is always accessible to the community. Now, the feedback that I'm getting from folks far and wide, well, I shouldn't say far and wide, people around L.A., specifically black people, is that it feels like there is a targeting of black power in L.A. It feels like some kind of purge of black elected leadership. And I pointed out on yesterday that, well, we've seen Mitch Englander, who's white, and He already did his jail time. Jose Huizar will be sentenced, I think, in later this year. And, Nuri Martinez stepped down. Gil Cedillo voted out. Kevin De Leon should have stepped down long ago. When, I should say disgraced council member Kevin De Leon. But nevertheless, I mean, Mark Ridley Thomas, a huge, huge blow to the community, and one which, when you look at the actual conviction, what they decided he was guilty of is pretty flimsy. And now here you have criminal charges filed against Curran Price by the district attorney's office after the feds walked away from that without charging. How do you respond to that, Ed, that this feels like an attack on Black LA?
Yeah, I can understand and agree with the sentiment. I think when you certainly when you have two key figures in really truthfully within the last 18 months that have been the subject of indictment in Mark Ridley Thomas and Curran Price, you're immediately it's right at the front of the mind. Each one of the cases that you listed, have their own different set of facts. In looking in this, and first things off, I mean, let me also echo your respect for Curran and Del. I've known them for years, and the charges are shocking. They run counter to the people that I know and have seen in public life. To your point, they have been ardent champions of issues that impact our community. It is also true that there are perils in having a relationship with an elected official, right, and still maintaining a business. And the ethic lines they're not concrete. I think the way it's portrayed in the press as if it's black and white. It is almost always a conversation, and you get different advice from attorneys, from ethics officers, and so you try to navigate it. In today, one person may see a crime, but it may not have been a crime, to another person, 2 years ago. That stated, I don't know all of the facts of this case. Mm-hmm. I'm going to assume that the DA is going to put forward a case, but I think that the councilman has a very strong chance of beating this case. Unless you're telling me they were just enriched by this, and I don't think that to be the case. I'm surprised as you are that the DA brought the case. It didn't seem like the DA should bring this case.
Yeah, I was very surprised by that, and I had to wonder why after the feds walked away from charges. When the FBI declines to arrest you after doing an investigation, why would the district attorney take this up? And even in today's LA Times, they admit that many of these clients that Del Richardson and her company had predate her relationship with council member Price. So, again, gray areas. You're a professional woman who has her own portfolio of work, and then you start dating and marry an elected. How do you untangle that? I mean, if we were holding our former president to anywhere near these standards, he would definitely be indicted because, do you recuse yourself from your own business? Do you have to disentangle from all family business? As you say, where are the lines? At the same time, I wonder whether our electeds are clear. And you point out there's gray area, but as clear as you can be. Are people getting counsel on how to avoid these kinds of perceived conflicts of interest?
Well, it's not an exact science, right? And query where and who's responsible for doing it, right? I think a lot of the votes that are even referenced in this are unanimous votes, probably on consent, that arose out of a committee that Price didn't sit on. And so, every council agenda starts with consent items. And, so if clients aren't specifically named in the agenda item, sometimes they're in the report, and you would hope that your staff can review the report, but your staff may also not know the client list of your spouse, right? And to that point, if that's the case, and we're talking about votes, that's one thing. Particularly if they're like 15-0 votes. The point being that Price wasn't a deciding vote or a deciding factor in the vote.
Well, explain what you mean.
It doesn't matter.
Explain what you mean by consent votes or consent items.
So at the beginning of every council agenda, there are, let's just say there are 50 items on the calendar. Some of them aren't to be debated. It's, they're sort of matter-of-fact business items. And so in the effort of saving time, you put them on the consent calendar and you have one vote, right? And everyone agrees these all should pass. These aren't controversial issues, and they can go on the consent calendar. When it's not on the consent calendar, that's when you get the debate around, okay, should we do this? Should we do that? And so, again, if these items were on sort of the consent calendar and he wasn't on the committee, then, to me, that's certainly not something, if I'm sitting in the DA's chair, that I'm trying to charge him for a crime for. That, it's almost as if anybody on the council voted for it. It's obviously a unanimous vote.
I mean, I saw that. Yeah, right. That many of those were unanimous. Also, I understand that it's illegal to be married to two people at once, and that if his current wife was getting benefits while he was still hadn't finished the paperwork, that's a problem. But is it something you go after someone for jail time? I mean, he filed for the thing a couple times. Apparently, he just didn't complete the paperwork. And I know as electeds and people in the public eye, we have to be scrupulous about our paperwork, but jail time? Really? I mean, clearly it's not like he was pretending she was his wife so she could get benefits. They live together. They are functioning as man and wife, whether that divorce was actually signed, sealed, and delivered. To me, now you're doing too much. I feel like the district attorney's office is doing too much with those charges. Embezzlement, because his wife got benefits, health benefits from his job, even though they were clearly living and functioning as man and wife. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I agree with you there. That seemed particularly just lacking a substance.
I mean, it's extra. It's hell of extra. I get that it's illegal, but if we were in Utah, I mean, they would look the other way.
I call that illegal. I mean, we continue to have to your point, they have stood as husband and wife for years.
Right.
And at what point, let's say he wasn't married, at what point would she be vested for the benefits just out of common law?
Yeah, that's a great point.
Publicly they are husband and wife. And so, it's almost as if, their relationship isn't warranted in this DA's eyes.
But when it comes to conflict of interest and saying you can't vote on stuff for your wife, then she's counted as the wife. But when it comes to benefits, now she's not counted as the wife. So to me, that's like really extra on the part of the DA's office, especially when you talk about, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but we always hear people talk about the spirit or the letter of the law. And to me, he didn't violate the spirit when it came to giving his wife benefits from, his job. I mean, and now that's embezzlement? Really? George Gascon?
Yeah, George has definitely set up sort of I'm going to get you one way or the other, right? Like either you conflict of interest or, you were embezzling health benefits. And the word, and in this case, the charge of embezzlement, particularly when written in the paper,
right,
seems, like
right.
It is
sounds like he was stealing money. What he did was got health benefits for his wife.
Yeah, and that doesn't. I think
whether
everybody listening,
the paperwork was
just,
tight or not. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not looking at this like, wow, this guy ran off with, $25 million. That's not what this
right.
is. And so
his wife got a mammogram. Ooh, that's embezzlement. Yeah, come on.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't.
And then, ultimately the council is deciding whether to suspend him. I can't believe they put that forward based on what we've just talked about.
Yeah, that's true.
And to your earlier point about, how African American members are being targeted, I think the conversation of suspending a council member is really only been with Ridley Thomas and
hold that thought, Ed. We got the hard ad out. News, traffic, sports, and then we'll continue this conversation. And we're going to get to your phone calls because I can't wait to hear what you have to say about all this. KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for supporting us in year two. If you promise to keep listening, we promise to keep bringing it on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thank you for sharing a part of your Friday with us here on the Black Information Network. I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest. President Joe Biden is visiting Connecticut today to highlight the work done to fight gun violence. Biden will attend the inaugural National Safer Communities Summit at the University of Hartford. He'll be joined by gun safety advocates, families impacted by gun violence, and local leaders. The president is expected to speak at 2 p.m. That's Eastern Time. In Tennessee, a colorful new outdoor basketball court in North Nashville is honoring a local trailblazer in the sport. The Watkins Park Court was unveiled yesterday at an event called Hoops and Hope and was dedicated to African-American Perry Wallace. He was the first black varsity athlete to ever play basketball on a scholarship in the SEC. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Stop waiting for a great deal on better sleep. Mattress Firm's July 4th sale is happening now. Save up to $700 on top brands when you get a king bed for a queen price. Plus, get a free adjustable base on qualifying purchases. Shop today to get the right bed at the right price.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The WNBA is allowing all 12 teams to fly with a charter company when possible. The long overdue decision comes after Brittany Griner was harassed in the Dallas-Fort Worth airport last weekend. A YouTube influencer confronted Griner as she and her Phoenix teammates were walking to their gate to catch a commercial flight. The man expressed his anger over the prisoner swap that freed Griner from a Russian prison in December. WNBA players have been complaining for years about the physical and mental stress of flying commercial. All 30 NBA teams use a charter service or have their own planes for every road game. Freddie Freeman delivered a bases-loaded single in the bottom of the 11th to give the Dodgers a comeback win over the Chicago White Sox. The Giants are in town tonight for the start of a 3-game series at Dodger Stadium. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Everybody in the house, make some noise!
Is there a better day of the year to celebrate the anniversary of the only unapologetically progressive talk station west of the Mississippi, focused on issues that impact the black community?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
We think not. A station that amplifies black voices like yours with hosts and guests who look and sound like you. Celebrating our second anniversary on Juneteenth. We're KBLA Talk 1580. And you ain't seen nothing yet.
Are you a small or micro business owner looking for ways to succeed after the pandemic? LA County has got you covered. Gain access to economic opportunity grants and technical assistance to help your business thrive. Whether you need mentorship or capital investment programs, they're here to help. Find out if you qualify at recovery.lacounty.gov/programs. That's recovery.lacounty.gov/programs. LA County and you, moving forward together.
If you're a business owner or lead a nonprofit that's between 26 and 49 employees, please listen. Lendistry is proud to announce a new program whereby small businesses and nonprofits may qualify for reimbursement of COVID sick leave expenses incurred in 2021 or 2022. This program is administered by the California Office of the Small Business Advocate. Eligibility criteria apply and funding is limited. For more information, visit covidpaidsick.com. If you're a business owner or lead a nonprofit that has between 26 and 49 employees, please listen. Lendistry is proud to announce a new program whereby small businesses and nonprofits may qualify for reimbursement of COVID sick leave expenses incurred in 2021 or 2022. This program is administered by the California Office of the Small Business Advocate. For more information, visit covidpaidsick.com.
The pandemic may be over, but many Angelenos could be at risk of losing the place they call home. It's important to know your rights as a residential renter in the city of LA. Did you know eviction protection still exists for unpaid COVID-19 rental debt that was due before March 31st, 2023? And that you have 5 days to respond to an eviction notice, also known as an unlawful detainer. Learn more about your rental rights at housing.lacity.org. Be informed, be protected, be at home.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
Boldly taking talk radio where it has never gone before. New vistas, new voices, new views, new visions, new victories. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we're taking public media black. Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
You up? Yes, you are. 800-920-1580. Ed Sanders, my partner in politics. And Ed, you were just landing on a point about, this unfortunate situation, the charges being brought by the district attorney against Councilmember Curran Price, and how, it's kind of we're going to get you for being married and doing these things, and we're going to get you for not being married and doing these things.
Yeah, and ultimately, to me, it is, again, I think as a DA, if I were in the seat, Dominique, or if you were in the seat, really bringing into court a case, and at the root of the conversation is as the district attorney's disrespect for what you are calling your marriage or relationship. And that is troubling for me, right? That's distasteful. I don't believe that this DA would do that on any number of different, sort of conversations. And the topic of marriage is something that we've debated in this country, whether you're talking about interracial or same-sex, I think we've settled in Los Angeles and in California, if you and another person love each other, we will honor that as a marriage. And, honestly, when you see the DA sort of go at Dell and Curran, it is sort of almost a direct disregard for that. And I take umbrage with that.
All right, going to Big Phil calling us from the city of Los Angeles. Good morning, Big Phil.
Good morning. Devil don't sleep. Keep waking up. And you know what, Dominique? You know what?
Yep. What?
Let me say something. Keep doing what you've done, Ed Sanders. Happy Juneteenth. Of course, it's fortunate that the Dred Scott, he wasn't free. One of the most powerful cases downtown St. Louis, my hometown. He's buried out there with my dad. My mother she didn't want to be a politician. She was one of the head county clerk for just Macmillan years ago. And she told me the reason why she wanted to be a politician is a dirty game. Not saying that Clarence Price did anything wrong, just the fact that when you got your hand in the cookie jar, you got your business in the street, got that much power, somebody's going to dislike you in the game, okay? I work with the brother with the Hobart Jazz Festival every year to bring artists on. He's a beautiful brother, got a beautiful soul. I hope it's not true. They're already trying to take my buddy down, Mark Rickley Thomas. So I'll pray for both of them brothers, beat the case, whatever's going on in their life. But my mother said, I will never be a politician. This is why, because it's a dirty game, okay? So I love you guys. I'm trying to make out there for Mondays for the Juneteenth, celebrate the legacy of slaves being free. Okay, Ed, Sandra, Dominique, and Tavis Valley, my little nephew. With you guys all well. God bless you. It's Big Phil. I'm out.
Thank you, Big Phil. That's one of the kind of almost like a talking point, right? Ed, politics is a dirty game.
Yeah, I mean, yes, it's a common term, and you know, in order to affect change, you got to be willing to fight. It doesn't need to be a dirty game, but you know, to the point, you do need to respond when you know accusations are made at you.
And on that note, I mean, the council moving to suspend through Council President Paul Krikorian, but he has said he would wait for Council Member Price to respond. Let's go to Molly Bell calling us from the city of Compton. Good morning, Molly Bell.
Reparations in memory of our ancestors. God bless morning to you, Dominique, Ed Sanders, the KBLA family and delegation, and, of course, the chat room. Dominique, and I'll listen to your comments off the air, so just take a quick note. First of all, I want to say that the first time I met Tupac was at a Free Geronimo rally in Leimert Park. And when I came home, after I got my pictures developed, we didn't have cell phones then. If we did, I didn't use them. I got them developed. I showed them to my family and my niece. She said, "You got a picture of Tupac? You met him?" And I went up in a value in her life after I came home with that. After I came home with that picture, and I do have the book. I can't think of the name of it, by Afeni Shakur and Jasmine Guy, and have them autographed by both of them. And about Juneteenth, I'm so glad that this is actually on the 19th. I think that I heard her say that this is the first time that Juneteenth actually, since it's been a holiday, fell on Monday.
Yes.
And I want to just say this, and I'll listen to your comment off the air. First of all, for the clearance of the top secret papers, who's going to get a chance to see them for the trial of Trump? Maybe they should only show something that's no longer in effect, because I wish they would televise it. But then if they televise it, then why should Trump be in trouble for it if they're going to let me see it on TV? So I don't know if that makes any sense. And Dr. Karinga always teaches us that our oppressor cannot be our teacher. And Dominique and Ed Sanders, why do we as Democrats use the percentage? Like they will say, I'm just making up a number, say Donald Trump has 100 people that's voting for, that's in his group, and he has 60%. Then they say, wow, he got 60%. Say that Biden has 500 people, and we only have 40%. But isn't 60% of 100 just 60 votes, and 40% of 500 is 400 votes? I don't like the percentage, because they always letting Trump be ahead of us, be ahead of Biden in the percentage. So we just can't do that. And like I said, Dr. Kringer says our oppressor cannot be our teacher. With Councilman Kern Price, I heard, because they seem to be targeting black folks. How long did they know about this? How come it's just now coming up? Ed, I know you probably have some answers. And why didn't they find out earlier? And somebody in the chat room brought up, what about if it was an inheritance? I can't read it at the same time. So I'm just saying we got to find out things. But Dominique, you have a safe trip to Africa. We love you, and all you prayer warriors out there, you know what you've got to do. You've got to keep fasting. You've got to keep praying, because the struggle continues. But always, to God be the glory. Thank you, Dominique. Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, Molly Bell. I'm going to let you tackle that, Ed, about percentages and politics, because you've consulted many a campaign.
Yeah, she's not too far off on that. But in the, how you present information and facts publicly, can help to influence how people vote. And so she's not too far off on that. I was actually thinking more about, whether or not we get to see on live TV the evidence for against Trump.
I mean, my understanding is that federal trials in general do not allow cameras in the courtroom, so I don't think that's going to happen.
No, and secret on confidential, particularly national security matters, they really have a select number of judges that review those cases, and so you're not going to get all of the details of what he released. Although my working theory is that what he released compromised some operations, and
interesting.
God help him if we lost soldiers or someone working for the CIA behind his moving of papers.
Yeah, and the possibilities are just endless. I assumed it had to do with him getting paid because he's so greedy, or having some bragging rights. But yeah, who knows what that could have compromised. It is, it's just a fascinating time in history right now. But it shows you how much of a double standard there really is. I mean, this guy should already be under the jail. And, starting with Trump University, starting with emoluments, going back to the dozens more, probably, I think it's close to 24 sexual assault or abuse allegations, but here we are starting to see the indictments roll in. But it seems like an example of what he said, he could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot someone and he'd still be elected, because even with all of this stuff, it looks like he is headed for the nomination of the Republican Party and a real chance at winning.
We've talked about him now for 5-6 years, and
I know. I wish he would just go to jail.
It is, yeah. It's incredible. To your point, you can't believe in 2023 that this candidate has risen really on the backs of just sort of an overt anti-black, hate to the presidency, and then to remain in the public life the way he has. And he motivates half the country to be vindictive and towards us, and he's very good at that. And in 2023, you can't believe that's what this country is, but it in some ways, to know our history, it is to also know that is going to be the continual struggle for our community going forward.
Speaking of going forward, when we come forward, I want to get your take, Ed, on the LAUSD Primary Promise Reading and Math program, something that I believe the school board will be voting on Tuesday, and which 2 former school superintendents have come out against the current superintendent's decision to end that program. It's highly unusual. As a dad and a policy person, love to get your thoughts on that. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
When you're young, life is full of choices. Don't let opioids like highly addictive and deadly fentanyl take away your life and your choices with just one wrong pill. Addiction is a disease that can affect anyone at any age, but there is a choice to get help for this disease. Find medically proven treatment options, including virtual, at choosemat.org.
Gotta stay fresh, my house shot with a rest bar,
Have Have you visited us online for the grand opening of KBLA.store? For the best in new merch, gift ideas, books, media, and more, log on to KBLA.store. Be sure to check out our KBLA team favorites at KBLA.store today. That's KBLA.store for all the official merch on your favorite talk radio station, KBLA Talk 1580.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve Relief from the world's #1 nerve care company. Nervive tablets contain alpha-lipoic acid to relieve nerve aches, weakness, and discomfort, plus B-complex vitamins to support healthy nerve function as you age. Live life with less nerve discomfort with Nervive Nerve Relief. Learn more at nervivehealth.com. And try Nervive Pain Relieving Cream to block nerve pain signals at the source. Use as directed.
Follow the leader.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your black. Follow the leader when the leader.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate meets a scholarly match.
Hey.
Ed Sanders is with me this morning, and he's a public policy advocate through his firm ES Advisors and a media contributor. You can find him at Edward M. Sanders on Twitter. You can find us at KBLA 1580 on Twitter, Instagram, and all of the places. So the current superintendent of LAUSD, Mr. Carvalho, is saying that he wants to get rid of this thing called Primary Promise. It is a program within the LAUSD that Mr. Alberto Carvalho says just costs too much, and then if we get rid of it, we can help a broader swath of students. The program is meant to address the fact that a lot of kids in our system cannot read, and what it does is it gives extra help to those children in the classroom who are struggling with their literacy. Now, that way the teacher doesn't have to teach 2 or 3 different levels at once. They can teach the people that are up to speed in reading, the people that are advanced in reading, and those who are just having some problems, as opposed to those who need the most basic kind of help. Now, former superintendent of LAUSD, Ramon Cortines, and Austin Butner have written an op-ed, pretty scathing op-ed, saying that this is a mistake to roll this program back. Thoughts?
It's frustrating. This has been, education is the pathway to, the middle class to success. And we have struggled for, a very long time in public education, particularly with our community in providing education. And in a lot of ways, it's a conversation of resources, but it's also a conversation of tactics.
Right.
We've worked in the past on, sort of the reading by 3rd grade metric. We know that is critical. The students that aren't reading by the 3rd grade have the worst outcomes, and you can draw the
right. I mean, they get funneled into the school to prison pipeline is what really happens. And so to me, Carvalho's saying, well, we'll help kids in high school. My grandma was a high school teacher, and she quit to teach kindergarten because she said the kids were showing up and they didn't know how to read.
I was not like I didn't know much about him. All I knew is that he came from Miami.
Right.
And right off the bat, that worried me because I it's Florida, it's Miami, and, we know Dade County. And I've always been curious, and now I need to go and look. But, I've been curious about what his programs were in Dade County and, how how he bettered education for the African-American community there. And if that's not, I think all of us will kind of look at that and report out on that over the future. But it's important to understand who he is and why he's doing something.
Right.
He has not done a very good job of explaining why he needs to cancel this program, and therein is the problem. It can't be just money.
Yeah, I think that's right. If you're concerned, you might want to weigh in with the school board today or Tuesday early because they are voting on it Tuesday. And guess who is getting help from those teachers' aides? I mean, guess who needs that math and reading help? I'm going to leave that there because I'm pretty sure you know. When we come forward, let's talk about the party and how you can be down. KBLA Talk 1580.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for education as a right, not a privilege. Charles R. Drew University of Medicine and Science is a private, non-profit, community-founded, student-centered university committed to cultivating diverse health profession leaders who are dedicated to social justice and health equity for underserved populations. CDU does this through outstanding education, clinical service, and community engagement. Recently, Charles Drew University made history by opening only the 5th medical school at an historically black university. Congratulations, South LA, and congratulations to the dean of the medical school, Dr. Deborah Protho-Stith. CDU is now training doctors and providing $90 million in annual economic benefit to Watts and surrounding neighborhoods. To apply for medical school, get more information, or sign your child up for the Junior Doctors Saturday School program, visit cdrewu.edu. That's cdrewu.edu. At KBLA, we are dedicated to equity in education and ending healthcare apartheid, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Roll Charmin ultra strong when you drop in the beat. It cleans with way less effort on your seat. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Charmin flows extra strong from the road. Your butt hella clean while you're sitting on the bowl. Yeah, it's all you need for that bathroom groove. Get you in and out without nothing to prove.
Charmin Ultra Strong cleans better so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Hi, it's Dominique DePrima from KBLA Talk 1580. It's going down on Juneteenth weekend, Saturday, June 17th at 11 a.m. for the Ribbon Cutting and Street Festival for the New Orleans Corridor in Los Angeles. You know it. It's about time this important part of our story, our culture, was recognized by LA. Join Mayor Karen Bass, New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell, Councilwoman Heather Hutt, and Grammy Award-winning musicians Irvin Mayfield, Terrace Martin, and 1,500 or Nothing for an amazing celebration. Go to NOLA2LAtickets.org to claim your free ticket. That's NOLA2LAtickets.org. I'll be your MC, and I will see you there. Saturday, June 17th at 11 a.m. It's the New Orleans Corridor in LA for Juneteenth 2023.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
You got a big mouth. Hello, Joe, you're up. Welcome.
We're unapologetically progressive, and we don't black down.
And I'm passing the mic to Ed Sanders because we got a couple of minutes before news, traffic, and sports. But I know you know the deal with Saturday's party. I'll give you the deal with Monday's party next hour.
Thanks, Dominic. And again, we're celebrating New Orleans Corridor in L.A. We are renaming, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, City Council Member Heather Hutt, renaming a portion of Jefferson to honor New Orleans and the migration from Louisiana to Los Angeles. Honored to receive Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as a special guest. Coming in tomorrow to talk about his love of jazz. And we all know that New Orleans is the birthplace of jazz, and Kareem has a fantastic expression of jazz. we're going to have a lot of fun. We're meeting up at the Holy Name of Jesus Catholic Church at 1977 West Jefferson. That's at 11 a.m. They'll do the ribbon cutting there. And then we're going to have some fun with a New Orleans-style second line, complete with the umbrellas and hankies right down Jefferson Boulevard till we get to Herald and Bells, where we'll have a main stage. And on that main stage, we've got a blend of New Orleans and Los Angeles music, headlined by Irvin Mayfield, a jazz, Grammy Award-winning jazz artist out of New Orleans. He's joined the delegation and come out from New Orleans. He'll meet up with Terrace Martin, our beloved Crenshaw District instrumentalist, fantastic, Grammy-nominated. And then 1,500 or Nothing, just an 8-member Grammy. Each of the members have won multiple Grammys. They've worked with Usher, Kendrick Lamar, Bruno Mars, Jay-Z, Beyonce. So on stage, you've just got some of the best and brightest from Los Angeles and from New Orleans. And emceed by our own Dominique DePrima.
Whoop,
so really,
whoop.
really happy about tomorrow. Look, go to NOLA2LAtickets.org to register for your free tickets. Again, NOLA2LAtickets.org and register for free tickets.
Ed Sanders, as always, it's a pleasure, and I shall see you tomorrow on Jefferson.
Looking forward to it. See you then.
We've got news, we've got traffic, we've got sports. You know how we do around here, actually. And then we're going to be talking hip-hop history, Bay Area hip-hop archives. That is next on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Thank you for sharing a part of your Friday with us here on the Black Information Network, local trailblazer in the sport. The Watkins Park Court was unveiled yesterday at an event called Hoops and Hope and was dedicated to African-American Perry Wallace.